Hey guys, this is Tyler here. We probably all know the pattern day trader rule is officially changing. Anyone here who doesn't know what this is per AI. Pattern day trader rule is a FINRA regulation requiring traders with margin accounts to maintain a minimum of $25,000 to execute 4 more trades within 5 business days. If a trader makes more than 3 day trades in this period, they are flagged and must meet the equity requirement to continue trading. This is incredible. This will make such a massive difference in the markets. And if we go to the SEC or FINRA filings here, let's just go here. This is another SEC bulletin that kind of goes a little more in depth on what day trading is classified as. This is the document that was produced per the SEC, and it goes much deeper into the nuances of this filing and the whole process that's involved here. If we can see here on section 2 that states the proposed rule change would, among other things, eliminate provisions relating to pattern day traders, the computation and use of day trading power, and the minimum equity of $25,000 for pattern day traders. It would implement instead new intraday margin standards. To summarize that part of it, basically, anyone who's not familiar knows that with many of these brokers, they will give you leverage buying power often. We'll look up a broker called Trade Zero. This is one that a lot of people in the US and then in Canada are familiar with. And this is a broker where I'll show you guys. We'll go down here. This is for the US segment here. But if we go international, we can see that. Let's see if they show that leverage. So here we go here. You guys can get 6-to-1 leverage on a broker like this one. 6-to-1, depending on the price of the stock. Typically for most brokers, it's anywhere between $1 up to $3 or $4 minimum. If it's under that, like penny stocks, a common definition, typically they could only purchase up to the amount deposited into the account. Interesting here, but you'll note though, let's look at the US branch. That's the international. And then let's go down and you'll see something here. They give 4-to-1 in leverage and then 2-to-1 for overnight leverage. When we were looking at that SEC filing, that's part of what that has to do with. But case in point is there's going to be so much liquidity added to the market, like these penny stocks that are commonly traded. It's going to be really interesting to see where the market is at. Like when June comes around, when these brokers en masse start implementing this rule, we could see some incredible liquidity with these penny stocks, akin to when this COVID situation happened and all these small cap stocks just started taking off. I'll show you guys something here. Let's go into FinBiz. Look at like this stock, Allbirds Inc. This stock made just a ridiculous move today. At one point, it was up like 800%. It finished up about 580% on the day. It was per this news that came out. Allbirds executes a $50 million convertible financing facility agreement, announces expansion into compute infrastructure. And there you go, AI. That's a big keyword in the stock space. If they say something's AI, I mean, you see these absurd moves. Look at this. Like this stock has been in a downtrend for several months here. Most recently, it was in the $2 range, and then it soared. It got up to over $24 today. Incredible move. That's over 800%. It finished up almost 600% on the day. And then if we look, I've mentioned this, and anyone here who doesn't follow a really well-known day trader named Ross Cameron, he discusses very thoroughly. When you look at stocks, you have to pay attention to some of these numbers here. What is the share flow, for example? It's about 5.5 million. It's key. It's a very low float stock. Inside ownership is quite high, also 36%. When we go back to that share float, that is critical because relative volume plays into that. If you take a stock like Tesla or Apple, because that share float of those respective stocks is at least 100 times higher, it would take substantially more volume to even pump those stocks up a fraction of that amount. Whereas these low float stocks are the stocks typically that make these crazy moves. But the key there, this is what we could be seeing almost daily. Just like during COVID, you were seeing these 500% moves almost every single day for a period of time from May of 2020 until August. And this is just remarkable. This pattern day trader role has been such a nuisance to beginners. And there's a lot of interesting kind of theories on that. As I summarize it with students, at its core, day trading is a statistical and probability system. You cannot be constrained to being able to only trade X number of trades or X amount of money on a daily basis, especially if you have a small account. And also if you're a novice, naturally your intuition and your other skills just aren't going to be refined enough to trade with those small amounts of cash. You're going to need to be able to develop and establish a good system. You're going to have to be able to make a lot of trades. And like I said, it's probability and statistics. There's statistical averages there. You have to be able to cut losers quickly, ride your winners. That's the only way long term that you can really be successful in this area. There's so much misinformation in the day trading space. So many podcasters will say, oh, this day trader lost this money, or this day trader lost whatever it is. And it's like often it's swing trading or options trading that they're discussing in the first place. It's what's like absolutely insane about it. But let's go back here to the SEC filing. And this is another big plus here is that it discussed the accelerated approval of the proposed rule changes modified by Amendment number 1. And this also pertains to how quickly they could roll this out. Some of these brokers, I mean, like Interactive Brokers, they were, or Webull, these brokers were ready to roll this out tomorrow. They were, I mean, on board to start this immediately. Brokers obviously benefit from this big time, not just traders, not just companies. Brokers also have a big role and benefit for them. And also imagine, this is something that occurred to me, offshore brokers like your CMEGs, they are probably going to take a hit with this, but time will tell on that. Yeah, going back, most of these brokers, yeah, by the end of May, early June, are going to be ready to give you unlimited trading. Once you have the 2000, it's off to the races. This is awesome. Maybe bad for some people, if you're like a gambling addict, of course, but for people that know what they're doing and they're following a system, they follow that system accordingly. It's awesome. Give me your feedback, guys, here. This is Socrates Investments and Trading, and have a good evening. Thank you.